Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else.
Hey, y'all, and welcome back to the Girl Be You podcast. It is Gigi, your host. And here at this podcast, we are creating a space for you to be your most authentic self in a world full of chaos. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me on this special episode. This is the first episode of 2024, and I am so excited to share with you all. I'm so glad that you've joined me for this week's episode. Thank you so much for returning, and thank you so much for leaving a review and all the wonderful things so that we can continue to share this podcast with the world. Let's get right into this week's episode. Y'all, this week I wanted to share some of my lessons from last year and how they are carrying over to this year and how I want to lean into this year of 2024. Previous years, many years ago, I would always have these big resolutions of what I wanted to do and all the amazing things that I wanted to do. And now I'm learning that I don't really have a whole lot of big resolutions. I have a lot of easing into things and, just being kind to myself and my system and my body, right? And so yeah, that's the way I want to start this episode, with just easing into it, giving myself a whole lot of grace and extending a whole lot of peace to myself and my space and my time, right? So I feel like this year has started off with a bang. Okay. The people are loud. The world is loud. Everybody's loud. And I have been actively trying to quiet my space. And sometimes quieting your space looks very, very different from who and what you used to be and who you were. And so this year, I have decided to really just be intentional about what I hear. What are your lessons that you're learning? Share with me in the comments and let me know. Okay? I wanted to talk about my top 10 lessons that I have learned. Number one is get some rest. Okay. I grew up in an environment, and I tell y'all this all the time. I grew up in an environment where it was very much the mantra, I will not let grass grow under my feet. I'll sleep when I die. And I'm telling you right now, I am unsubscribing and I'm unstriving from that lifestyle, because baby, I got to get my rest. I got to take a nap. I didn't always believe in the naps, but baby, I am a firm believer in getting some rest. Okay. I'm a firm believer in taking a nap. I just don't believe that we are supposed to run ourselves in the ground. And I've traded my running shoes for resting shoes. Don't get me wrong. I am going to work hard. I am going to put in the work towards the things that I love, towards the passions that I have, but I want to be able to enjoy them. I unsubscribe from the lifestyle of just running myself ragged, because it just leaves for you being sick, not well. You can't think if you're not rested. You don't know which way to go if you're not rested. Okay. I have learned to respect my body, take a nap, and you can hustle and grind your body down as much as you want. As for me in my house, it's going to be a no. My number 2 lesson is create your own life and do what's best for you. This past year, 2023 was a huge year for me. I turned 40. I got married. Y'all already know. If you've been here a while, you already know. But it was also a year for me to make decisions that were best for me. I created a life and I made decisions that I felt were best for me. I chose not to answer the phone for people. And I don't think that I told y'all this story, but I shared with my husband. I was like, I'm changing my number because I'm sick of everybody. And he's like, well, maybe it's not so much about changing your number, because that number is connected to so many people, but maybe it's more so that you create boundaries of not answering the phone. Ooh. And so I had to learn how to do that. I had to learn that I had to create my own life and not what everybody else thought that I should do. Number 3, be present. Be present in your life. I've heard this so much over the years. And for the past 3 years, I started therapy in 2020, right before I felt like I was about to have a nervous breakdown. And a lot of what I worked through in therapy was learning to be present, to not always live for the next moment, but to be present. And that was so hard for me, the same way that the mantra of not letting grass grow under my feet, the same way it's true for being present. I've always lived not for the moment, but for the next moment. I've always had conversations, not in this moment, but for the next point. And so now I'm actively learning how to be present, how to be present right here in this moment, how to enjoy talking in this podcast and not thinking about the next episode that I'm doing. So if you're out there, learn to be present. Before, this should probably be the whole list and be done with it, but I've learned to mind my business. Okay. I have learned to live in such a way of being on Gigi's business avenue that I have no clue what other people are doing in their households. Y'all, I had to know all the information. I got to know what's going on. And not even for the sake of, really any other reason other than minding other people's business. And I am minding my business. There's so much peace in minding your business. I have learned to concern myself strictly with my own business. Minding my own business has been the best thing that I've ever done. Consuming other people's business, consuming how they react to certain things, took such a toll on my heart, my mind, my energy, my body. And now that I have been minding my business, I really feel like it's the best thing that I've ever done. It is the best thing that I've ever done. And I'm not in a place where I am not empathetic for other people, or I don't have empathy for other people when they bring things to me. I just don't go over climbing over the fence and getting in people's business. If they want me there, they'll invite me there and they'll ask. But I'm not willingly just walking up in somebody's house and being like, girl, what you got going on? That is not my business. Number 5. When people show you who they are, please believe them. The great Dr. Maya Angelou, who was my absolute favorite poet, said it. And I believe that the words ring true. When people show you who they are, believe them. I learned this so much this past year. Listen, that rest and settling your body and having clarity will show you. And oftentimes people don't even have to say it, right? They didn't say when people tell you. It says when they show you. When they show you who they are, believe them, because they telling the truth. They're not going to lie about themselves. All you got to do is just stand back and listen and watch, because a lot of what's being said is not being said. It's being done through their actions. So when they show you, believe them. Once you see that, you'll never, ever forget. Moving to number 5. Don't work with your friends. I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back. Don't work with your friends. Now, this works for some people, but not all people, okay? If that person is your friend, let them stay your friend. Do not work with them. Hear me when I say don't work for your friends. I'm crediting my sister for this lesson because this past couple of months, I would say the last from like maybe October, a little bit earlier than that, maybe August, September. Again, that's Patreon business. You got to go on down to Patreon because baby, I'm gonna tell you the truth over there. But Patreon's business, I decided to work for someone who was a friend. And like I said, my sister told me after it had went bad. When I say bad, it was terrible. Like my grandma would say. My sister, we went and got manicures and pedicures, me, my mom, my sister. And my sister looked at me. She's 2 years younger than me. And she said, G, don't work. No, she said, G, stop working for your friends. And my mouth just dropped because, I always be telling her what to do. And most times I'm right. But she was so right in this instance. She said, G, stop working for your friends. And I literally had no words because she was right. And this has been my downfall for so many years. Not only have I worked for friends, but I have shown up for them and I have given them 1,000,000%. In the last episode in Believe Again, I told y'all how I was just like rah, 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 showing up for the friends and doing all of the things. And y'all, let me tell you, it's just, we gotta stop. If you are a recovering people pleaser like me and you feel like you gotta just please the people, show up for the people, show them how to do all the things, stop. Stop. Okay? You gotta stop cheering for other people's ponds while I'm over here ignoring my dreams and my goals has been so detrimental to my personal growth. And so you have to stop. And if it's worked out for you to work for your friends, then great. For me, it's a no-go. Let's move to number 7. You are right where you're supposed to be. You are right where you're supposed to be. Stop second guessing and believing that you should do this and you should do that and all these other things and I should be further along. Baby girl, you are right where you're supposed to be. Don't let the world, don't let TikTok, don't let social media, don't let the comparison of other people make you believe that you're not where you're supposed to be. You are right where you're supposed to be. Keep at it. Keep going. With patience, with consistency, with focus, you will see your dreams come to pass. Your goals will be met. But stop believing that you're supposed to be someplace else. You're right where you're supposed to be. Listen, read more and scroll less. Last year, I decided to get back into my reading bag. And within the past, I think like 4 months, I read like maybe 4 or 5 books. And the joy that my heart felt getting back to the thing that I love. Reading is not for everybody, but for me, it's my thing. It's the thing that brings me back to my center. And I absolutely, absolutely love it. And so it was a big lesson for me. I want to learn more, compare less. And when I scroll less, I read more. And so I have big goals for 2024 of reading. And if you want to join me, girl, join the book club because it has been relaunched and we've picked our book. So, girl, if you want to read more and scroll less, join me down at the book club. You don't have to finish the book, but you can read and you can join in community with us. Okay. So, my number 9 lesson is be okay with just being you. You ain't got to be everybody else. You know, you've tried to fit into everyone else's mode and their containers of what you should be, what you shouldn't be. Just be yourself, okay? Be yourself. And number 10, learn to be accountable for you. Learn to be accountable for your actions. Don't try to say, well, this person did this person did that. What did you do? Be accountable for yourself. Everything else, feelings fade. Feelings are not reality. That's what you feel. That is not reality. Be accountable for your actions. I just told someone today that I had to take responsibility for my own heartbreak. I had to take responsibility for the things that I contributed to and breakdown in friendships and relationships. I had to be accountable for me. Okay. Before I get into my goals of 2024, I wanted to share honorable mention of some lessons that some of my followers shared. My girl Heather said the lesson that she learned is never make changes for anyone else. If someone points out a flaw and you feel like it's valid, yes, strive to improve, but never compromise who you are at your core. Follower Alicia Morris said, don't forget the golden rule to treat others how God would treat them because some of us don't know how to love ourselves. Autumn Smith says, life is no longer about balancing, it's about prioritizing. Amen. Hashtag removing the guilt. I can't be everything for everyone. Ooh, that was good. My godmother, Patricia Germany, said, be intentional about reaching your goals and don't allow opinions of others to distract you from achieving them. Celebrate your accomplishments. My girl Jessica said, no one is coming to save me. Baby, they not coming to save you. Because the reality is we all got something. And I can't save you if I'm busy trying to save myself. It's no knock. It don't mean that I don't love you. But it just goes back to, you're just not my priority. I love you, but you're not my priority. Not Jessica, but just, in general. Latrice says the biggest lesson learned in 2023: don't expect to receive the same support from people as you do for others. 2024 goals. 2024 goals. The theme word for her is hope. I hope that God will continue to open doors for me and give testament to my dreams coming true. That's so good. Isn't that good, y'all? I love that so much. And so now that we've talked about the lessons that we've learned, let's get into the goals. Here are my top 3. I thought about this and I thought about it, but my top 3 goals is I just want to be consistent. I may not get it right every single time. It doesn't have to be perfection, but I just want to show up. I just want to consistently show up. If I can consistently show up, I know that that will shift things in my life. If I can keep showing up, no matter what, I keep showing up and I got to keep going. The other lesson is to stay focused. Stay focused. Being focused means being clear on your vision. I want to be clear on what I have for my life, the vision for my life. And when you have vision for your life, you will not align with things that don't go with you. In 2023 and prior, I've always tried to align myself with other people and things that did not pair well with what I was doing in my vision. My vision for myself is to be consistent, to show up in the ways that I've been deemed to show up in my teaching, in my writing, and in running my mouth. Those are the ways that I'm aligning with my vision. My vision is to show up for myself, to align with writing, with teaching, and running my mouth. Okay. And so that's my umbrella for 2024. That's where I'm going to stay consistent. That's how I'm going to show up. And that's where I'm going to stay focused. And this is going to sound weird. This is going to sound really, really crazy. But my other goal is to be delusional. Do you hear me? I am going to be full of faith and full of delusion. What does that mean, G? What are you talking about? It means that I'm going to have faith to believe that I can do all of the difficult things and the hard things that I thought that I couldn't do. I'm going to be delusional to believe that over 1 million people are going to hear this podcast and that my book is going to be a New York Times bestseller. I am delusional in believing that. I'm delusional in believing that, my name is going to come up to be on the Essence Festival. Those type of things. The biggest dream. Some dreams I can't even tell y'all, but it's a whole lot of dreams that I'm delusional about that I write down every single night. When I do my going to bed routine, I have delusional dreams. I have so much faith and delusion. I believe that I could be a trillionaire. And so delusion is just believing the wildest things can happen. I believe the wildest things can happen. I always thought that it couldn't happen. But baby, let me tell you something. In 2024, I am completely delusional. I am full of faith and I am completely delusional. Okay? Do you hear me? Delusional. Y'all, I love this episode and I hope that something was shared this week that will really spark you to really step out and learn the lessons and take those lessons to propel you to do the things that you want to do, the things that you've been believing for, and the things that you know can happen. Okay? Y'all, thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. Please, please prepare yourself for your girl to be consistent, focused, full of faith, and quite delusional. I am going to be quite delusional, okay? Make sure that you're following me on Instagram at G_girlBU. If you haven't already, join the newsletter, and you can do that by visiting the website at www.girlbu.com, and make sure that you're following me on Patreon. Y'all, I'm sharing exclusive interviews, conversations, so many things that I don't share on my platforms on social media. So make sure that you go over to the Patreon. I'm so excited about 2024. I've never been more excited about a year than I am about 2024. Y'all, thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, tell your friends, tell your aunties, tell your cousins, tell everybody about this podcast. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you write a review and tell me how I'm doing, because I want to hit that 1,000,000 people mark. I believe that what I'm sharing and what I'm doing, the world needs to hear it, okay? And let's be delusional. Until next time, girl, be you. Bye, y'all.
Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Don't be nobody else.